As riots shook cities across the United States in 2020, then Senator Kamala Harris authored a little-known blog post urging the public to help demonstrators by donating to a bail fund that freed violent criminals. The blog post, which Harris published on her Medium profile on May 31, 2020, came amid riots in Minneapolis and other major cities following the death of George Floyd. Harris is still fundraising on behalf of the controversial charity, according to Act Blue. Harris wrote in the blog post, quote, "I stand with those protesting George Floyd's murder." She then asked people to make a contribution to the Minnesota Freedom Fund, an organization working on the ground in Minnesota to post bail for arrested protesters. Harris, who added she stood in solidarity with demonstrators, wrote at the time, "The protesters on the front lines need our help." Harris, in June 2020, famously posted a tweet asking people to chip into the Freedom Fund. Since then, the bail fund has freed George Howard, who pleaded guilty to second-degree murder for shooting and killing a man in 2020 in Minneapolis. Sean Tillman of St. Paul, who was sentenced to life in prison this year for first- and second-degree murder. Others who were freed in connection to the bail fund include Darnica Floyd, who was sentenced to prison in 2021 for stabbing a man to death, and a slew of serial domestic abusers. The fund also paid $350,000 to release a twice-convicted rapist, Christopher Boswell. With the help of Harris, the Minnesota Freedom Fund helped raise over $41 million in 2020, according to tax records. Before Harris lent the nonprofit group a hand and prior to Floyd's death, the MFF could only afford an average bail of $342. Once the money rolled in, that quickly changed. The average bail MFF could afford skyrocketed to $13,000.